Now, a couple things I noticed just looking at these answer choices. The simplest thing to focus on here is choice A. We have a period. Periods have one purpose: separate two complete sentences. So that strikes me as maybe the answer, just kind of based on, I don't know, the odds of what I've seen in the past. But I do have one little complication. This choice C is adding in the word that. That's a little strange because that's a word that not only has this like comma after, which can affect the punctuation and the structure, but the word that itself it's different than like a word like and. Like the word that can turn independent clauses into dependent clauses. It's very strange. So I got to just pay attention to that. But regardless, I'm kind of focused on A. It's got the simplest situation. Let's see how it pans out. Let's look for a sentence before that. How does that sound? The pedagogy of the Suzuki method is rooted in several central tenets. Yeah, sounds like a sentence to me, so that checks out. This is a longer piece here, but okay. Developed by Japanese violinist Shinichi Suzuki, who sought to parallel the linguistic learning environment, the method emphasizes playing instruments from a very young age and teaches students as young as 3 to play simple classical pieces such as March in G. So there's a sentence in there. It's buried, but it's there. It starts here. The method emphasizes playing instruments from a very young age and teaches students as young as 3 to play simple classical pieces such as March in G. So there you go. It's a compound sentence. The word and here, without a comma, is being used to create a list of two things, right? The method emphasizes, there's my first thing, right? The method emphasizes playing instruments and teaches students as young as 3. So there is that kind of repetition there a little bit of this pattern, but it's not two sentences. It's all just one big sentence. So I think that kind of settles it. I think it's got to be A. I would look at C. Maybe I'm missing something, but let's see what's going on. The pedagogy of the Suzuki method is rooted in several central tenets that, developed by Japanese violinist Shinichi Suzuki, who sought to parallel the linguistic learning environment. No. This, I've already lost it. First of all, if I were to put this developed here, I think we actually have a modifier issue where the tenets are developed by this guy. Maybe that makes sense. I don't know. It feels like we want to say the method was developed by this guy. So that feels odd that the word that is kind of redirecting maybe this modifier. But sure enough, if we stick to choice A, then the word developed, that is the modifier. Developed by Japanese violinist Shinichi Suzuki, the method emphasizes playing instruments, right? What was developed by him? The method. So that is actually a perfect little modifier situation. That is not really being tested here in a meaningful way, but it kind of sneaks in a little bit, and that maybe is why C is wrong. But I think the easier thing to do is just prove A right. We have two sentences. Why mess with success, right? There's a sentence before, there's a sentence after. Yes, the second sentence has a bunch of clauses. Yes, some of those clauses could have followed the first sentence and could have been attached with commas to that first sentence. Because they then lead into another sentence, we don't have an actual way to join two sentences here. So we've got to use the periods, the only way to separate them out. And there you go. This is why, if you know your punctuation marks, you're not going to end up going through a question like this, reading each answer choice and testing it out. There's only one that kind of rises to the top because of how strict the rules are. And if you test that and it passes the test, you're kind of done. That's at least how I approach most of these. I'd still be kind of weirded out by C enough to read it, but the other choices not really even looking at. And I don't think that there's really any way I could have fallen into some sort of trap here. The period's either right or wrong. If I prove it right, it's done.